the perfect facade. Victor always believed that his greatest work wasn't in steel or glass, nor in the meticulous blueprints he drew late into the night. His greatest creation, the masterpiece of his life, was his family. For 20 years, he had lived inside the warm walls of that belief. He was 52 now, a systems architect by trade, a man who saw the world in terms of stability, of design, of principles. Order was his faith. If a foundation was solid, the structure above it could endure anything. That was how he saw his marriage. Marina was his foundation. She was 50, vibrant, a woman who seemed to carry entire galaxies inside her. Marina was color, rhythm, the unexpected spark in a room full of tired faces. She was a designer by profession. Weddings, parties, celebrations. Everyone who knew her thought she was perfect. The devoted wife, the brilliant mother, the hostess whose laugh could fill a house with warmth. And Victor was the quiet counterpoint to her music, a calm harbor, where she was chaos. He was order, where she flew. He anchored. Together, they looked complete. 2 children. A beautiful house with a garden that bloomed every spring. Vacations by the sea. Late evenings by the fireplace with friends. Traditions. Rituals. Trust. Victor never doubted her. Not once in 20 years. As their 20th anniversary approached, Victor searched for something that would honor all those years. Jewelry felt shallow. A trip abroad was too fleeting. What do you give the woman who, in his mind, had already given you everything? Then it came to him. Memories. Preserved. Eternal. In the basement, he found the boxes. Old VHS tapes, dusty, forgotten. Their wedding. Their children's first birthdays. Summer trips to the lake. His plan was simple. Digitize them, restore them, and give Marina a treasure chest of their life together. He handed them to a specialist and waited. A week later, he received neat folders of digital files, organized, labeled, ready. That night, long after Marina had gone to bed, he sat alone in his study, headphones on, and pressed play. The screen flickered with their wedding. He saw his younger self, hair darker, shoulders straighter. Standing at the altar, his eyes locked on Marina. Her veil framed her smile, radiant, dazzling. He remembered the way his chest had ached then, full of certainty, of gratitude, as if the universe had chosen him above all others. He watched his children, tiny again, wobbling on unsteady legs, blowing out candles, shrieking with laughter in the backyard. He laughed softly, tears stinging his eyes. This was a gift. This was perfect. And then, on one file, after the chaos of children's party, the picture went dark, but the recording continued. The camera must have been left running. At first, only silence, the hum of a house at rest, then the faint click of a phone being lifted. And her voice, Marina, she was younger, the timbre lighter but unmistakable. Yes, he didn't suspect a thing. No, not at all. A pause. Laughter. The hardest part was at the wedding, looking into Victor's eyes and not bursting out laughing at the thought that I would never be as alone. He thinks he's the safest choice, and that's the beauty of it. He'll never suspect. Victor froze. His rational mind, trained to test every beam, every number, wanted to reject it. An error, a distortion. Perhaps it was edited, tampered with. But the details, her cadence, the clink of glasses in the background, the way she sighed between words. There was no doubt. She spoke of another man. By name. Of meetings, of passion. Of how choosing Victor gave her stability, while her lover gave her fire. And the date stamp on the corner of the video. Months after their wedding. It was not a mistake. It was a blueprint drawn in secret, hidden beneath the facade of their life. Victor sat for hours in the dim light of the study, the glow of the monitor painting his face in cold blue. He listened again, and again, until the words carved themselves into him like etchings in stone. He tried to breathe logic into the storm. Maybe it was a brief affair. Maybe she stopped. Maybe, but he was an architect. He knew the truth about structures. Cracks don't heal on their own. They spread. And once you see the fracture line, you cannot pretend the wall is whole. The following days were quiet. Outwardly, nothing changed. Marina bustled around, full of plans for their anniversary dinner. She hummed as she set the table, called friends to decline invitations. "Just the two of us this year," she said. She kissed Victor's cheek when he came home, told him she loved him. But Victor was elsewhere. He began leafing through old photo albums at night. At first, he sought comfort, reminders of the life he thought he'd built. Instead, he found poison. In one picture, Marina leaned against him at barbecue, her smile dazzling. But now he saw something else, a shadow of her gaze, as if half her mind belonged elsewhere. Another photo, a family trip, Marina holding their daughter. He remembered that weekend, her sudden absence, explained as a work call. He had thought nothing of it then. Now the memory twisted, sour, unbearable. Every image, every memory, became a mask he could see through. The laughter, the tenderness, the vows, props on a stage he hadn't known he was standing on. He began to wonder, had he ever been a husband or merely an alibi? The night of their anniversary arrived. The dining room glowed with candles. Marina wore a dress he hadn't seen in years, deep green, soft against her skin. She looked radiant, almost too radiant. She poured the wine, raised her glass, and smiled as though nothing in the world had ever gone wrong. "To us," she said warmly. "To 20 years of love, of trust, of building a life together. You are my rock, Victor." Her words echoed inside him like laughter in a hollow chamber. Victor set his glass down. Slowly, carefully, he reached for the remote and pressed a button. The television across the room lit up. The video began. At first, the children's party, the chaos, the laughter. Marina smiled, confused, nostalgic. Then the screen went black. Her smile lingered until her younger voice filled the room. The phone call, the confession, the laughter, every syllable twisted in the candlelight like a knife. Marina's face collapsed. The blood drained from her skin. Her hands shook as she set her glass down, the stem rattling against the table. She didn't scream. She didn't deny it. She knew. Silence stretched between them, thick, suffocating, until at last she whispered, "I loved him before you. I chose you because you were safe, stable. I thought I could live both lives. And for 20 years I did." Her voice broke, but her eyes were dry. Victor looked at her. His gaze was not a betrayed man, but of an engineer examining the ruins of a collapsed bridge, realizing it was doomed from the first faulty bolt. His voice was soft, terrifyingly soft. "Thank you. You gave me 20 years of a perfect illusion. I lived inside a beautiful lie, and perhaps that was better than an unhappy truth. But the show is over now, and I am free." He slid his wedding ring from his finger and placed it on the table beside the untouched cake. Then he stood, walked to the hallway, and lifted the suitcase that had been waiting for days. Without looking back, he left. The door closed behind him with the finality of stone. The house, once vibrant with Marina's laughter, now stood cavernous, silent. The candles flickered, casting long shadows across the empty chair where Victor had sat. The architect had left the stage, and the perfect home was revealed for what it always was, a flawless facade built upon broken ground.